Okay, shout out to Irby. Anybody want to say hi to Irby?
Going on, Irby? Miss you.
All right, so the things about this questions, right? So for me that um for me like this wait, did I wait, hold on a second. There might be a way. Donald use iPad. What if I stream here? Unable to connect to
Miscellaneous. Try selecting office maybe, because I think that does the board.
I just wanted to go.
And if it does the board, then maybe it'll do everything.
I'm pretty sure the Inspire can run Doom. What percent is yours out right now, Chase?
Chat. It's like a lightning bolt. It's blinking yellow.
Okay, anyway, and now I will do that.
Like a second.
Okay, so
When your pen gets
I'm gonna start talking about this question first. Okay, and I'll give you a question that it might have something to do with that. So for this question, this part I want you guys to pay attention to. Even though ABC here, outer part doesn't matter if the particle is at t equal to -1. But t equal to -1 is important for other situations. So let's talk about that. That's called initial conditions. Initial condition matter in certain situations. So I want you to write down here initial conditions for particle motion affects final positions or furthest, I don't know how to spell furthest, whatever, left or right, but not total distance and total displacement. And now what I mean by that. So this is travel by vertical y-axis, but I'm going to just change it to x-axis. So imagine that I have a 0 here, right? And imagine that I'm going to take 3 steps right and 1 step left. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, right? I'm going to take 3 steps left or right and 1 step left. My final position is at where?
2.
2. Okay? But final position the initial condition can affect this. What if I start at different positions though? What if I start says, hey, let's start this with -1. So my final position is what? 1. So I'm trying to say is the final condition, final position matters of initial condition, not a total displacement though. Total displacement is still going to be +2, or total distance is still going to be +4, but my final position matters. Does that make sense? The initial condition will cause the final position to change, whether first left or furthest right, it will cause that to change. So hopefully that makes sense for some of you guys. But when you calculate total distance, your initial condition doesn't matter. So for example, if I want to find out, let's say this is 2 seconds, that take 2 seconds to do this motion, right? In this particular case, if I want to find, if my velocity is like that, so it's going to be initial velocity of dt between 0 to 2, but it's going to be -1 plus that. Why? Because -1 is your initial conditions or initial positions. Your initial position, you will affect that more than other things. So this is called the final positions at t equal to 2. Does that make sense? Now, if I ask you total displacement, do I need including initial condition?
No.
No. Does that make sense, Catherine? It matters what kind of question I'm asking you. I have in the past a lot of students including initial condition. I say, don't forget about initial condition, but they're including everything. They're including total distance, total displacement. End up they get those two wrong. They get a final position right. But some people forgot the initial condition, so they got the total. They got the other way. So you want to make sure you gain all the point as much as you can. Does that make sense? So if it doesn't make sense, please don't nod. I hate people just nod. Nodder is actually bad. If you don't understand, you just say, I don't understand. I don't know if you guys know Julissa. Julissa, I love her because Julissa always don't understand. She'll be like, she's not afraid to ask. Says, wait, can you explain that again? That's gonna make you a better student or make me better teacher. It's a benefit for both at the same time. So even though sometimes her question is like really rudimentary, but it's okay because if she doesn't understand, I'd rather explain it to her. I'd rather explain it to you rather than you just there, not your way throughout, and you don't understand it. And your mind's like, I don't know what kind of shit he's talking about. And you like this. Please don't do that. You make me a really bad teacher if you do that. Okay, so you gotta ask questions. If you don't know anything, you gotta ask. It doesn't matter you make you look stupid. Because only matter you actually understand it, you actually look smart on the test. So, please ask questions. So final position matters. Now, this is gonna be matter for today though. So we're gonna read into this question. We're not gonna use calculator on this question, but we're gonna read into this question. Okay. Because you guys should know how to use calculator now. So this is 2013. Everybody pick these questions because they love 2013. I have no idea why. Is that the year you guys born? No.
No.
How many years?
First grade then.
You in the first grade?
When did kindergarten start at first grade?
That was last year, right?
Because kindergarten was 12 and 13.
Anybody still friend with their kindergarten friends?
First grade.
Friend with first grade? I know Abadash is friend with
The closest thing
Anthony
is
since
Rabab.
kindergarten, right?
First grade.
Since first grade.
I've known Rabab
That is
since
crazy.
I've known Rabab since kindergarten.
Oh, unfortunate.
I went to his house one time, and then we had gone over to one of his friend's house in his neighborhood, and then we hadn't told his mom, and then his mom was like, "I'm gonna call the principal and tell her you can't have any more play dates." And then I was just sitting there like, "Wait."
I love Rebuff, but sometimes he's out there.
Yeah.
He's out there. You probably have played there with Rebuff all the time. Anyway, now Rebuff is a nice kid. He's his own species. But he's nice. He's not a bad person. 2013. I don't know where are you at 2013, but this is the first question on the thing. So I call this rate in and rate out problems. So rate in and rate out. And the reason why I call it this problem is there something comes in and something comes out. Okay. So we're gonna read this question. And I already highlight everything for you. what's important, but you're gonna read it first. God, I hate reading. You know how your English teacher says you gotta read it first, and we're gonna analyze it together. It's like so not me. I figure because man is blind.
Where's your other eye?
Huh?
Where's your other eye? That's all I'm gonna say.
My one eye is better than your two eye, though.
Okay. All right.
I can see it, but you can't.
What did happen here?
It's a secret.
In our triad,
What?
Chinese shrine.
Yeah. You don't know it?
I don't. I didn't
you never
know
see
it.
Jackie Chan movie?
Russia. Did you ever watch it?
Rush
Oh,
Hour?
no, I didn't. You suck.
Rush Hour is one of the best movie I've ever seen. Do you understand anything coming out of my mouth? Play this scene. I love Chris Tucker. It's funny. Okay. So let's kind of draw a situation for you. There was some type of things, some type of factories. We're gonna call it this gravel plant. And there was gravel that comes in, and there was a processing coming out. So there's the in, and there's the out. Okay. And there was some type of rate. So we have the rate of going in. And rate of coming out is what?
100.
100. So I'm going to color code this so that way you can see. This is 100. And this is green. So this is green. Oops. Did you change everything green?
What?
Why did I change everything
Yeah,
green?
that does not make sense.
That doesn't make sense.
What's going on?
I don't know. Oh, I click on the whole thing. So can I go back?
Try just like tapping up there.
What? You know what? Forget it. So this is the rate going in. So the way I kind of think about rate is this. It's really hard to comprehend rate. Like for me, it doesn't really make sense. Now, I will always think about rate is equal to velocity. Rate is equal to velocity of something, right? It's a speed. It's talking about speed of processing. So it's the velocity of something. So that's a way to think about rate is equal to velocity. Now, what happened is you're gonna answer A. They say, well, I'm gonna take G prime of 5.
So the acceleration.
Yeah, that'll be acceleration, but also understand that this thing right here, it says tons per hours. The tons per hour is kind of important because the tons per hour here, they say using correct units. What do you think a correct unit of G prime 5?
Would be tons per hour.
Yes. Do you guys understand that? Because you take a derivative to respect the time. If you take a derivative to respect the time, like if you think of velocity, it's a meter per second. I'm running at 10 meter per second. My acceleration is going to be meter per second square. So that is the difference between velocity. But I'm going to write it down for you. Let's say v of t V of t is equal to meter per second, and A of t is equal to meter per second square. S of t is meter. Does that make sense? So each time you divide it by time. But we start with the B of t, which is we know as rate. So if you divide it by time, that is going to be increased that. So therefore, the correct unit of this one is actually tons per hour square. And can you guys find it for me using calculator? I should bring it. Make sure you calculate in radian because this question matter. Natural law question doesn't matter, but this question does.
You did not try to hold it. You just let me have it.
Seth's not here today.
Yep.
I think this is like his hangout spot now.
Well, he doesn't. Whenever his fourth period teacher is here, he's just like, I'd rather come here.
I'm okay with it. He's all right.
Thank you for being okay with it.
He's okay. He's a good guy.
It's something.
Probably should have. We told him to grab one of them.
Probably 24 point something, right? 24 point what?
Okay.
So 24 point what? 587. Okay, that's another thing. Write it down. 3 decimal places. On AP exam, calculator, give me 3 decimal places. Good things, you don't have to deal with significant figure. I hate significant figure.
It's so stupid.
I am a chemistry major and I hate significant figure. I hate significant figure. So math, very simple, 3 decimal places.
I hate that. I hate that. Like,
Yes.
It's negative.
Oh, negative, good.
Okay.
So negative 24.587. So what are you supposed to write? Since this is G prime, is anything prime, you say it's increasing or decreasing? You can say it has decreasing rate. Because the rate is the G of t, right? The decreasing means the derivative means negative. So it'd be decreasing rate of 24.587 tons per hour. And you can say G prime of 5 is equal to 24.587. So that's how you write it correctly. Is that okay for everybody?
Would you round up for the 7 to 8 since it's fine?
The rounding is not a big deal on AP exam. Long as you round the 3 decimal place, it doesn't matter you round down or round up. But I'll prefer you round it correctly because I don't know the number, so I just write down 24.587. But you have to make sure it's negative though. So on AP exam, you just have to write that and the correct units. And you have to write decreasing. Why is decreasing? Because the prime is going to tell you increasing, decreasing, or something. Does that make sense?
Do you want to wait to do the 3 decimal points till the end, or can you do it midway?
You do it the end.
Yeah.
You don't want it. They call it in IB exam. So I used to teach IB classes. IB math, they are worried about you call it premature rounding.
Because then that makes it inaccurate.
Yeah, it makes the future value is less accurate. So IB exam is usually will talk about premature rounding, but AP exam doesn't talk a lot much. So
Was IB or AP exam harder?
I think IB is harder. IB exams out of 7 points, and the test question are a little bit it's not as predictable as AP exam. The question out there is kind of difficult. I mean, math wise, this is how I feel. And besides IB exam, you have to write essay.
Oh.
So you have to write essay about math. It's called external essays.
Like with theorems and stuff? Like,
No, you have to write it usually is about statistic. You have to write a statistic essays, which is I think is better for well-built of a student. But I don't like IB is because because they force you to take certain classes. So everybody had to take these classes. Everybody had to take IB English, IB foreign language for a few years. And so foreign language, in order for you to pass, you have to like you have to pass the speaking part. So you have, it's called oral exam.
You have to do fluid.
So you have to, they will it's actually, it's good because they actually know that if you know Spanish, like they will like they will have like 1,000 topic they can choose from, and they will have a topic, and you just have to talk about it for 5 minutes,
Oh wow.
and you have to prepare like very extensive. So for me, IB exam is much more rigor, but I don't like the structure where you have to take certain courses. AP, you can choose to take computer science because you like computer science, but you don't like history, you don't take AP history.
Well, is that a similar feeling to how you feel about the Apex program then? Because I know that I don't think it's as strict on what you take, but I know that with the Apex program, like people have to take certain courses.
Yeah, I prefer AP just itself. I don't like Apex because some people is not good with history. Why are you forced to take history? You should take whatever you choose you enjoy, right? Just like in college, in college you get to take the class you want to take, but they do require you take certain classes, right? Not all the classes, because you major in accounting, then you don't take a history class. So that's how it should be. You should not waste time on doing those things. Okay. Now the next question says find the total amount of process plan. Is that the rate in or rate out?
Rate out. Wait, hold on.
Is that rate in or rate out? In. So what are you supposed to do for B though? What are you supposed to do for B? Is that what are you supposed to do?
How long is a work day?
They tell you.
Oh, 0 to 8. So you have to. Would you have to find the integral?
Yeah, because
that's the displacement.
yeah, because you think about a rate, right? If I integral the rate, I get amount of something. I get amount of distance, right? So I hear if I integrate the rate of a process plan that's come in, I get to amount. So think about unit, kind of makes sense. If I have tons per hour, now I'm gonna get ton. Does that make sense? That's how you go up. So the integrate of this is gonna be integrate 0 to, I don't know, 5, 0 to 8. And that's what you're supposed to write down of g of t dt. And you have to write down this. You cannot just write the answer. You have to say it's what you do to get that value. So can you guys work it out between 0 to 8, g of t dt?
You know how to do integrals on it? Give me a second. Yes.
Can you guys get it?
Wait, I need to.
Yeah, second calc.
Do you know how to use that calculator, man?
Wait, do you
Yeah,
need to with the.
Yeah, you're tech savvy.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Wait, why? Like,
Thanks for making the
wait,
video.
hold on.
I don't know why my audio got corrupted. Because the voice memo you sent from
No, I
the
got it.
Apple was like the
Yeah, I
end
got it.
of 4A, and I converted. And like when I went through the entire video, like on my software,
You can hear it.
I can hear it, and then I rendered it.
It's an iMovie. They're pretty shitty.
No, it's not. It is like DaVinci Resolve.
It's somewhere.
DaVinci?
Yeah.
Use DaVinci?
Yeah.
Is it 825.551? You guys.
Okay, so 825.551 is 3 decimal places. What's the unit? Is that tons per hour or what?
That's tons.
Ton. And that's how you write them. And that's it. It's very easy. You just have to write down the things that you need to write down. Now, C is kind of tricky. How do I do C? Pay attention to what's subject and what is increasing, what's decreasing. What is a subject here?
The
So
process.
Give me a second.
What was the question?
C.
See?
Is the amount of processed gravel at a plant increasing or decreasing at t equal to 5? Now, what's the subject here? Huh? The amount. So is the,
Whoa.
so what am I supposed to plug in here? G of 5, G prime of 5, or G double prime of 5
This is for B.
for C?
G prime. No, G.
Why G?
Because
That's what
Well, you think about it, amount of process is the integration of G, right? But they say increasing, decreasing, that means the derivative. So go back to the G. Does that make sense?
wouldn't you also have to take into account the 100 tons per hour?
No, they only talk about the amount of process. Hold on a
because
second.
The unprocessed goes into processed, right?
It's increasing at 5. I don't think so. Let me double check though.
Because I thought what you were having to do is compare G to 100. to
It's
see-
possible.
you're not comparing velocity.
it's not the, it's the amount.
Really good question.
For what? For C? Speeding up a song. Yeah, it's gonna be in miles.
Oh, true.
7?
Hey, true.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just G of 5.
Oh.
Why is G of 5? Because you think about it, the subject is the amount of something. So that means integration of G, right? But they say, well, it's increasing or decreasing. That means you have to take a derivative. That means you go back to G. Does that make sense? So let me write it down. So you think about the subject. The subject in here is the amount of unprocessed gravel. That means you have to integrate the G of T. But since it's talk about increasing and decreasing, that means you take a derivative of the integration. So which is go back G of 5. So then we only talk about only unprocessed gravel. We're not talking about a net. So this one is equal to what? I think it's equal to 98.14 something. 141. Yeah. So
That would need
is that decreasing or increasing?
to be decreasing, right? Because that's less than 100.
Yep, it'll be decreasing. So you are compared to that. You do compare to 100, but you are not including the calculation. So you do compare to what's out, right? So in this case, it's gonna be less than 100. So then you are gonna be you're gonna say it's decreasing at that time. Now, what is the maximum amount of processed gravel at a plant during the hour operational workday? So here's the thing, maximum amount.
So you would have to find the absolute maximum of.
You will know also what?
Yeah.
Not only the G, also the out rate too. So this is what I call a net rate. So net rate is gonna be the in rate minus the out rate.
Which is kind of what we did on the last one too, right?
Yeah, but we just compared last time. This time we actually have to do the amount. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to graph this function Now, I'm not going to use TI to graph because you guys already know how to use TI to graph. I'm going to use Desmos to graph, and I will show you the Desmos graph rather than anything. So Desmos graph, I'm going to do is this. I'm going to type in the function, which is 90. And good thing Desmos usually setting in radians. And then cosine of x squared and over 18. And I'm gonna graph, and I'm gonna graph minus 100. Why is minus 100?
That's the out.
That's the out rate. So in rate, the rate net rate is the rate in minus rate out. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna graph this. Now, obviously, your graph's gonna look like a bunch of straight lines. Now, what you have to do is you gotta change the window. So you gotta use your calculator. Click on the window right now.
Like zoom to it.
No. Click on the window. Go click on the window. And if you click on the window, it's gonna look like something like this. It has X min and X max. Now, what would I have to do is I would do the X first. X is between 0 to 8, right? So I'm gonna do between 0 to 8, but I don't like to do 0 to 8. I rather do -1 to 9. Why? Because I can see a little bit room in the front and a little room at the back. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna do -1 to 9. Did you guys did that? It will say X min is -1 and X max is right. Now, I want you to think about this. I'm says the amount of impossible gravel, so we're gonna say, okay, well, how do we get the amount though? Oh, I need to show you the whole graph. Hold on a second. This graph is really shitty. So, I'm gonna go to, let's say it's maybe 500. That would be better. Okay, well, that's good. 100 is good enough. So if you go to the Y min, you at least go to 100 or go to 50 is enough. 50 is enough. So let's just go to 50 here. And this one's going to be -10. So that way you kind of see the whole scale of graphing. Now, guess what?
And then you need. Oh wait, never mind.
Where is the maximum amount happen?
At equals 0.
At Chase, what? 5? No, almost 5, right? 4.923. So, do you know how to find the zeros on your calculator? Get 4.923. Second calc zeros. And then you gotta go to integration, so you have to do a table and chart here.
You'll find what you need to do.
So what happened is you gotta figure out the integral between 0 to 4.923. That is gonna be your amount, but you have to do the table though. Between 0 to 8 and between 0 to 9, 4.923. Okay? So, but, oh, by the way, what do I forgot here? I forgot something. If I just do 0 to 4.923 of g of t minus 100, what do I forgot here?
UG?
No. What? No. What did I forget? No. What did I forget?
Yeah.
No.
DDX. No.
No. No.
What's the question?
What's the maximum score you want on the test? 100. Why is 100 there? Wait, so it's not 100, it's 500. Why does the 500 matter? It's an initial condition. Because not only that, you have to including the 500 at very beginning, and that's the initial condition that you're worried about. So you want to do the net rate. You want a t equal to 0, 8, and 4.923, and 0 is going to be 500. This one is gonna be what? 500 plus integration 0.493. Of GFT minus 100. Or this one's gonna be all the way 0 to 8 of 500. And GFT minus 100. So you have to do all three, and you want to say absolute maximum.
Get your ass up. What?
500.
No.
Does it matter? Does it understand?